Hey sewing friends, so I thought I'd real quick share with you, I guess, a save or a win or a victory that I had this weekend. Because several years ago, when I had just gotten back into the sewing world, I had sewn when I was younger, and then I had kids and life got busy, and then as I got back into sewing, I realized there was this whole online community and there were indie patterns, and it was just all new to me. And I jumped in with a lot of enthusiasm, but I didn't really have the knowledge and the skill level that I have now. Not that I'm super knowledgeable and not that I'm super skilled, but it's definitely more so than when I first started. So anyhow, a couple years ago, I bought this fabric, and I don't know where, don't know when. For all I know, it could be a cotton, quilting cotton for all I know. I mean, I don't think it is, might be, but it is, a cotton, very tight weave cotton. And when I got home, I had wanted to make a mashup of two patterns from the Merchant and Mills workbook. One is the Bantam vest, which is sort of it's kind of a tank, but it has a very thin shoulder strap. I don't know if you can see that. And then it has sort of a long armhole, and it doesn't have any darts, so there's not a lot of shaping to it. I can show you a picture of the model wearing it, and you'll kind of get an idea of what the shape is. See, and it has a slight razor back. But I wanted the length of the dress, but they also have what they call the curlew, which is almost like a woven tank top. So there's the model wearing it. And what it is I thought, okay, this one has darts, and it has a wider shoulder strap. Here it is. And I thought I would just use the curlew top with the skirt of the Bantam dress or Bantam vest. And I kind of thought about this at the time, but I ignored it. The curlew top is actually designed to be cut on the bias. The Bantam vest or Bantam dress is cut on the straight of grain. So I cut everything out on the straight of grain. Went ahead and sewed the shoulder seams, got the side seams, did the neckband, and I tried it on. And it wasn't turning out how I thought it would. It was just this frumpy, shapeless dress, and I knew that I was never going to wear it. And at the time, I didn't know what to do with it. It was just like, okay, I've ruined this material. I don't know how to fix this. And I just stuck it in my pile. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have this pile and they're not whips or UFOs, because a whip or a UFO somehow implies that you're in progress and you're going to finish it. You've just taken your time on it. These were mistakes that I knew, just mistakes. And so I put it in that pile, and I sort of forgot about it for a couple of years. And then I think it was last weekend, I made the one-on-one trousers out of this mustard cotton that I got from Stone Mountain and Daughter. And as I'm, reaching for the fabric and all, I come across this fabric, and I think, oh my goodness, this matches so well with that mustard yellow cotton that I had. So I went ahead and pulled this out and said, what can I do with it? Because I wanted to make a top that would match the pants that I was making. So went ahead, first thing I did was try it on, because I needed to figure out, where am I starting from? What have I got here? So I went ahead and tried it on, and a couple things I noticed right away. One, the hips were just a little snug. I wouldn't call them, tight or anything, but just, I could have used a scooch more room. But, and I'm thinking, could have been two things. Could be that I've gained a little bit of weight since I first made the Bantam dress, but I think it's also, as I've always made that out of linen, and linen is a looser weave, so there's a little bit of give in it, and this cotton has just no give. Then I noticed the neckline was very big. There was all this gaping at the neckline, and that really concerned me, because I wasn't sure that, I didn't think it was something that I could just get away with wearing, that it would be too obvious if I just left it as it is. So I started pinching the neckline together to see, how much do I need to get rid of? How can I get rid of this? And as I'm pinching it, folding it over, and I'm thinking, maybe I can just fold it over and stitch it and just call it a design feature. And as I'm thinking that at the same time, my mind is thinking, Carol, why not make an inverted pleat? That would be a better design feature than just pinching the fabric together, folding it over to one side, and stitching it. So I went ahead and pinned an inverted pleat. Well, first I had to take off the neckband. So I unpicked the neckband, went ahead and pinned together an inverted pleat. And my first thought when trying it on was, I'm onto something here. This just might work. So when I had basted it across, and I was like really pleased with myself because I knew how to do the inverted pleat. That's something I wouldn't have known when I first made this and threw it in my pile. So I went ahead and sewed the inverted pleat. I thought that I would have a lot of excess fabric left over because I went ahead and cut the dress in half, and I thought, I'm going to have the skirt and I can do something with the skirt. Well, I needed to make a lot of bias binding for the new neckband and the armholes. So most of that was used up making bias binding, and then whatever I have left, I'm just going to continue to make bias binding. So I'll have some nice colorful bias binding in my stash, and it'll be there for the next time I need bias binding. So I get the neckband on, I have my inverted pleat, I try it on, and it's like, ooh, yeah, I really like this. Still had that issue with the hip, so I had two options there. I could have hemmed it so that it really wasn't quite down on my hips, or I like the idea of adding like a little slit. You know how you hem it, but you have the little slits on the side? And I don't want to say it was a problem, but the issue that I had was that I had done French seams. So in order to get that slit, I had to unpick both side seams twice because, when you do a French seam, you sew it together once, fold it over, sew it together twice. So I unpicked both of those and added a little slit on the side. Here, I'll show you. See my little slit there? Oh, isn't that cute? And here is, I don't know if you can see it, my little inverted pleat. It's a very busy print, so it's very subtle, but I gotta say, when I tried it on, I loved it. Totally loved it, and I wish I knew what I did when I made this, because is it that I cut it on the straight of grain instead of the bias? Because I've made several bantam dresses and I want to make some more, and I've never had that gaping neckline issue with it. So, well, I haven't made the curlew, so maybe it's the curlew that I need to make. But I've made that before and I never had that issue. So I don't know if I made adjustments to the pattern to accommodate for maybe an FBA. Maybe I did an FBA because, I don't know. But I would have loved to know so I can make the pattern, because I would make this again. In fact, I would make this kind of in a drapier fabric because I think that inverted pleat would look lovely in some sort of drapey fabric. So anyhow, I tried it on with my 101 trousers, and I think I got a winner here. I'll put some photos of it so you can see. I think the colors match perfectly. They're both wonderful summer pieces that go together, that you can wear together. They're going to be nice and cool. The fabric is a cotton, so it's really breathable. So I'm riding a high right now. I am looking at my pile thinking, ooh, what can I save next? And I was looking at this Salt Marsh skirt, again from the Merchant and Mills workbook. And this was really just the wrong fabric for the right pattern. I remember looking at this a couple months ago because it's heavy. It's more like a midweight fabric. And I remember looking at it thinking, this would have made a really lovely linen summer jacket. Excuse me. And although it's a maxi skirt and there's a lot of fabric real estate on here, I don't think there's enough fabric to make a jacket. So instead, I think I'm going to make